So the protection techniques, only queries disclosing non-sensitive data allowed. This is difficult to discriminate between queries, obviously. Um, difficult to 1 minute, please. Sorry. It's difficult to discriminate which data is sensitive, which is not sensitive, and which query can result in showing information which is sensitive or it's not, and effective primarily against direct attacks. This is just good for direct attack. Direct attacks means the information of salary is sensitive and user is running query which says select salary. It's a direct attack. There's no ambiguous here, and then the user can get to the information which is sensitive. And so in direct attacks you can use the form of policies which we discussed before, for example DAC method or MAC method. Then controls apply to individual items within the database. Don't provide. Suppression means don't provide sensitive data, and then concealing means provide slightly modified data value. This means these controls can be applied to individual items. It means just one record or some special kinds of record. For example, in one database, which is about students, I say the information of computer students are sensitive, but the other informations are not sensitive, for example. Or another example, in the student table again, I say the information are not sensitive, just the information about the address of the student and telephone number and email is sensitive. So you can define the information which are sensitive, the small part, for example. And it means that you don't let the users to have access to sensitive data, or you can have access to modified value. We have an example in previous session that we have some different forms of tables, and any kind of user can have access to some kind of information. For example, I can see your grade is 12, but another user can see your grade is 14. I can see the exact information, another one cannot see the exact information. This is some difference here, that there are two forms of definitions to don't let any user see the exact value. Mr. Qasim, the question.
تقنيات الحماية يقول نسمح فقط الاستفسارات اللي ما تتضمن بيانات حساسة، لكن يقول هذا الأمر به صعوبة. مثل إيش؟ مثلا صعب أن تميز بين الكويريز، بين الاستفسارات، يعني هذه حساسة أو يعني بصعوبة الموضوع حتى تميز بين الكويريز نفسها. الثاني يكون هذا فعال بس على الدايركت اكسس، مو فعال على البقية. هذا النوع الثاني من النوع الأول من البروتكشن. الثاني اكو تقنيات سيطرة مطبقة على البيانات او الاجزاء الفردية على قاعدة البيانات. يعني من يريد يحصل بيانات خاصة في شخص معين لازم اول شيء بتقنية الاخماد اللي هي سوبرشن ما نسمح ما نعطي اي بيانات حساسة. والتقنية الثانية هي الاخفاء، يعني انا اجهز بيانات بس هاي البيانات مو صحيحة 100%، زين، يعني بنسبة معينة، مثلا أظهرت إياها 40 فرضا الدرجة مثلا هي، بينما هي بالحقيقة خلينا نقول 45 أو 50 وهكذا، معدلة بعض الشيء لإخفاء البيانات. ثانك يو دكتور.
Thank you. Random sample is a partition data and take random sample from that partition. Uh, it means that you have a database, you partition this database, and then take random sample from one partition. Equivalent queries may or may not result in the same sample. Um, Actually, this is a protection technique. It means when you are sampling data, it can be done by random. It means that if you have some queries, you maybe in this query it's using some random information to answer your query, and there is another query, the same query run another time or by some other user, but the results are different. Uh, so it's a form of security. In statistical data, statistical information which give you maybe some random samples are being used. You want some statistic. For example, how many students are, what's the percent, or how many students are studying in computer. The system takes a random sample of information, and then answer your query using that sample. Equivalent query, the same query will be run and may or may not result the same sample. So the next time you may have another information. It depends on the system. Maybe such result is not acceptable by the users. The user don't want this random sample. It depends on the system, the analysis of the system, if this method can be used or not. Or random data perturbation, which it means that intentionally introduce error into response. It means that the query will run, but the query will not give you the exact result. Some percentage, somehow a small errors will be add into response. Again, this method we should analyze the database. Maybe we don't want to have some errors in the queries, but somehow we say you are using the statistical data. You are not using the exact data. It's just statistics. Maybe a small error is okay. Maybe a small error can be acceptable because this is a statistical database. In exact database, you cannot use this form. And then you have query analysis, for example, history driven or difficult. And the analysis of query will show you if this is uh, such sequence of queries one after each other, which will be result in some sensitive data or the difficulty of this. And this query analysis is a very complicated and difficult form, and there is somehow some machine learning here because this um, database management system must check the queries which one user is using and see if the results of one query is related to the another query, and maybe the whole results will let the user reach some sensitive data.
So can I translate this slide or not?
Yes, there is not very complicated, I think. Um, the random sample means that the data will be partitioned in some partition, and then the result will be given to the user. As it is partitioned and it's using the random samples, when you are using different kind of different queries, but the same query different times you are using, the result will be different. Or you can add some error into response. If you add some error, so the users cannot see the exact result if it is acceptable. And the third one is query analysis, that you are checking the queries that one user is using one after another, and you see if there is any relation between these queries which can be result in access to the information, the sensitive information.
هاي بالنسبة لنا هسه الطريقة باستخدام استخلاص النتائج أو إعطاء النتائج بطريقة العينة. هنا يقسمون قاعدة البيانات إلى عدة أجزاء، بحيث أنت من تجي تسوي الاستعلام للقاعدة في كل مرة راح تعطيك نتائج مختلفة. زين، فهاي القيم تكون مقربة. هاي النتائج يقول تسبب اضطراب أو تشويش للباحث، فأنت أصلا تتعمد هاي النتائج، فيضطر هو شو يسوي؟ أن عدة استفسارات على القاعدة حتى يحصل البيانات اللي يريدها. هذا التسلسل بعدة الاستفسارات ممكن راح يوصله إلى بيانات.
Thank you. So we can go for a break for half an hour, and we'll come back on 12 o'clock.